Are you thinking about starting a YouTube channel but feel just kind of overwhelmed? I know that's exactly how I felt just a year ago. But now, 1 year later, I have close to 50,000 subscribers and I'm on track to reach that 100,000 subscriber mark by the end of this year. And the one thing that really helped me when I was thinking about starting a channel was watching videos like this. Those behind the scenes, the what to expect, the equipment, the strategy, the editing, the thumbnails, how much money could I expect to make? And I had all these unanswered questions because I was a complete newbie. Like I knew nothing about YouTube beyond how to watch videos. So I really appreciated all these videos that were out there that I could use and reference and gain some wisdom from. And so for my subscribers, this video might be a little bit different than my normal content, but I do feel I kind of have an obligation to give back and to do the same for someone else who may be actually at the beginning of their journey, who maybe might just be in that stage of where they're starting to think about starting a YouTube channel. But I hope you stick around anyway, because it might be fun for you to kind of get a little behind the scenes perspective. Now, I dropped my first video on May 28th, 2024 on my channel, the Marriage, Money, and Mindset podcast. I have since rebranded the channel name to Modern Marriage with Monica. You see, my intent when I first started the channel was to help women be better wives. And I did this because I went through my own kind of transformation as a wife. And when I was trying to do this, I looked at YouTube a lot to try to get information of what are the specific techniques. And I found that the information was quite lacking. And the information that was out there was quite fluffy. Oh, just love her more or have better communication. And I'm a very black and white girl. Like I need specific steps. You can't just tell me to love someone better. That makes no sense in my mind. Like, because obviously I thought I was loving my husband just fine. So the information about specific strategies and techniques of how to actually have an amazing marriage, not just one where you're miserable and divorced, but one where it's actually like everyone's happy and thriving and it's amazing. Where are the channels like that? And I just couldn't find any. So I realized even back then that there's a kind of vacuum for this information. So I decided I would try to help fill this void that was in the marketplace for this kind of content. But after a few weeks of dropping videos, and I would do this once a week, I would drop a podcast on Mondays, I noticed that my content was really resonating with men. In fact, it was video 4, which was talking all about how women should have a lot of sex with their husbands, that one of the clips from that video went viral, at least for me. And it's still to this day the most popular clip. It has over 300,000 views. So it was very clear that this content was resonating with men because they were like, yeah, I like what she's saying. Wow, we have a woman who gets it. So it was that clip from my 4th video that really got me accelerated, that really gave me that boost to quickly get monetized, which simply means that I'm able to enter into the YouTube partner program and get a portion of the advertising revenue that YouTube collects. And I'll go ahead and link that video if you guys want to check it out. So the very first day I actually started earning money was July 18th. And that first day I earned $2.15. Now, this might not seem like a big deal to you, but this was exciting because statistically, only 2 to 4% of channels even ever get monetized, ever. So to do that in essentially 6 weeks is crazy fast. So I knew I wanted to talk about my marriage, but this niche within marriage, actually, it just kind of found me. So I just kind of had to reverse gears in how I deliver the content in a way in which men can effectively understand their wives better and help navigate around our craziness as women. So I think there's a couple different factors going into why the channel grew as fast as it did. One was that it was a very broad subject. It hit a lot of people, but it was that very specific pain point of men having trouble not getting enough sex with their wives, that they're actually going to have a woman to advocate on their behalf. But in today's society, guys can't really have that voice. So I consider myself a very staunch advocate for men. But what I did do is I committed that I would drop 1 video a week, at least for a year. And let's just kind of see how this goes. And I think that not having the expectations of how fast a channel should be growing for any specific outcome, I came out just to give this information to the people who it might resonate with. And I think this approach really helped manage my expectations and to not kind of get down when a video didn't do well, or, you put hours and hours into content and, 200 people would see it. In fact, some of my best videos are at the beginning. And then I'm like, this one only has 200 views and this is an amazing video. I might have to redo it because you guys have missed the boat on some of my earlier videos. Now, because I was a complete noob, I knew nothing about nothing as far as YouTube. I didn't know how to edit. And so I went on Upwork and I hired an editor for $15 an hour. And what I found was that it was taking so much time after I shot the video, uploading it to the drive, and then I'd have to create a spreadsheet, a specific time codes, the things I wanted done, and then he would send the video back to me. I'd have to watch it, and then I'd have to tell him the edits that I wanted, and then he would send me the edited version, and then I'd have, this back and forth, and then I'd finally have to download it, and then upload it back onto YouTube, and it was exhausting me. I was like, this cannot be the fastest way. So I realized very quickly that I was gonna have to learn how to edit. So I have been editing my own videos. I use CapCut Pro, and I had to actually call my adult sons over and be like, give me like a basic tutorial so I can figure out how to use CapCut. But I do have a goal in which to go back to hiring out editing because it does take just a ton of time. So it wasn't but just a couple weeks into the YouTube journey that I realized, looking at the analytics, well, most people are only watching the video for 1, 2, 3 minutes. Here I am. I have a 25, 30, 40-minute video, man, and my videos pack some punch. They had some good stuff in there. So I realized I needed to cut it up. Think of them like little appetizers. And those run anywhere from usually 1 minute, 30 seconds to 4 minutes. And the irony of this all is that those little bite-sized chunks do way better than the whole podcast video in which it came from. If you guys can get this one tip, if this is what actually has caused the greatest accelerator on my channel right here, is that you have to break up your content into bite-sized chunks, which are different from the shorts. I have a video trending right now. It's called Why You Must Tell Your Wife No. It has 43,000 views as of this moment. This little clip, this 1 minute, 36-second clip, is actually law number 9 of my 10 Laws for Married Men Part 2 video. And this video itself only has 2,000 views. So isn't that weird how a little tiny clip from the video, 45,000 views, but the actual main source video only has 2,000. That was a big epiphany for me. So I have the main video that I drop on Mondays. Then each little appetizer video chunk, I release one a day. And then I also release usually one short, and I drop those at 5 p.m. I figure people are off work. I don't know if that works or not, but I do generate the shorts through a program called Opus clips, and I will link that for you. But because of time, I don't do much. I have the program generated, I schedule them for 5 p.m. on the various platforms, and then they just run. I do very, very minor tweaking of the titles, and I don't really focus on Facebook or Instagram or anything at this point because I'm very busy. But this software, Opus Clips, is actually, in my opinion, one of the biggest bangs for your buck. So that's the only thing I do for the shorts. And so check that out. Let's go ahead and move on to scripting. Now, I do script very detailed. I'm not one of these people who speaks naturally or off the cuff. I have to really think deeply about what I'm going to say and think about all the stories I'm going to add in to emphasize my points and make it relatable. And if you guys were to see my raw footage, you probably would laugh because it's a disgrace how often I have to repeat myself to get my line right. For instance, what I have found is that if I shoot like an hour of footage, I'll end up usually with about a 15-minute video. That is how unnaturally gifted I am when it comes to speaking on camera. Let's move on to tech. Now, my biggest mistake going in was that I did not invest in a good microphone right off the bat. This bad boy here, this Rode Pod mic, has been an amazing purchase. I'll link that in the description as well. Now, I started off with the Rode Go, and those are just the clip-on wireless ones. And I did that because I didn't know if I was going to be needing things on the go. So I figured, well, at least this microphone, you can use it anywhere. This type of microphone, this condenser, you're stuck in one place, really. So I started off with the Rode Go, and then I upgraded to this bad boy, and that was a mistake. I should have just started right off the cuff with this thing. And it can probably be much better because I film in my home, and we have no carpet. So it is very echoey, but in CapCut, there is a reduced background noise box that you can check. And I always make sure that I have that one checked to help with that echoey sound. And as far as cameras, I just started with my iPhone. I had a 13 at the time, an iPhone 13. One kind of little tool and trip is that I do use the cinematic mode, but now I have upgraded my phone to a 16 Pro Max. We're able to film in 4K and upload in 4K. So that's what I am currently filming on today. And also when I first started, I was still kind of working on a laptop that was kind of old. And so when I was trying to use CapCut, it would lag and it would just take forever to think. And so I did have to invest in a gaming laptop. So it did have the processing capabilities in which I was able to run that program sufficiently without driving myself crazy with how much lag time. So that cost me $700-800 to do that. And then after I bought the computer, the hard drive died after just 3 months. And I had to spend a couple $100 to get that fixed. But it's running now, so we're all good. As far as the editing software, I've already alluded to the fact that I am using CapCut Pro. And I started off really hating to edit because my patience is awful, but I actually kind of enjoy it now. And I think that's with anything. When you first start out and you suck at it, you hate it. And then as you get better at it, you start to enjoy it more. Now, regarding the thumbnails, I actually do the thumbnails myself. I use Canva. Canva's amazing. I use it for everything. I use it for my business. I use it for the thumbnails. Like you can't go wrong with that. I think the biggest mistake people make on thumbnails is that you don't realize that you are going to be looking at the thumbnail on a tiny, tiny screen. And you have just a few seconds where if you have too much busyness, too much detail in it, it's going to get lost. I actually made this realization also when I was driving on the freeway and looking at the billboards. Like you have 2 seconds to drive by a billboard to convey the information. And if it's just too busy, it's no good. So you really do just have to keep your thumbnails really, really basic. I have gone and done a couple of times where I've A/B tested different thumbnails. And I didn't really have like a specific brand or look because sometimes people will just change the title and then use the same color scheme or format. I wasn't that fancy. I'm still not overly that fancy. I typically will often just use a white background, black and red lettering, a picture of me so that my subscribers can be like, oh, this is a Monica video. Or maybe a picture that kind of conveys what is going on. So if I were to give you that one tip, it would be that simplicity is where it's at. So let's talk about how to create the description. So what I do is I take the transcript from the video and put that into Grok. You can also use Chat GPT. And I will simply tell it, create a YouTube search optimized description based upon this transcript. And it will kick it out. And what I have found is that they will kind of make it a little bit too short. So then I usually have to prompt it, make it more detailed. And then you might also have to tell that not to use emojis because I know at least Grok likes to add emojis in there. So that saves a ton of time. AI, let AI be your friend when it comes to your description. So let's move on to titles. Titles need to be curiosity based. And they have to be minorly clickbaity, but they also do have to deliver on what you actually say in the title. Now, when we were just speaking about AI, I will also sometimes ask Grok to give me some suggestions based upon the transcript for titles. I have not found either ChatGPT or Grok or even Opus Clip to be really great with titles yet. I think using AI for titles is really good to give you ideas, but after a while, you kind of get a feel for what you think is going to work. So all of this process, the scripting, the filming, the uploading, the editing, the creating the thumbnail, the creating the description, creating the chunk size appetizers, creating the clips, scheduling the clips. It's all extremely time consuming. I have found that normally for every minute of video, I am time-wise in it about an hour. The time commitment is absolutely huge. And so you're going to have to be very clear as to your why when you're thinking about starting a channel. So what is my why? Well, as I said before, I personally find marriage extremely valuable. I am looking at society. I'm seeing so many marriages that are failing. And it's really kind of like not anybody's fault. Society doesn't help us. Our parents, they're just doing the best they could to, figure it out. But when I was able to make a transformation in my own life, I just kind of was like, wow, like I have all this information that I've acquired and what works for me. Like I almost felt selfish just kind of keeping it to myself. So I really felt that I can move the needle. I can do something that of societal benefit beyond the benefit of just really having an amazing marriage for myself. Another why for me is that eventually I won't be around. And my kids will probably, I hope, miss me. And sometimes they'll be like, oh, I wish I could see mom again, or I wish I could hear her voice again. And this way, they're going to have hundreds of hours in which they can just listen to me rant on and banter about various topics. I want my children, my future grandchildren, to be able to just hang out with me, even if it's in video form, even after I'm gone. So I would say for anybody who is wanting to start a channel is consider the time level and the commitment and your why. It has to be strong enough. And there's times where I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm spending all this time. I don't even know if this is resonating. Is this helping anybody? And then I'll get that positive reinforcement back. Many of you will actually go and comment every day, which I so appreciate. And I know that the potential negative comments is kind of a barrier for a lot of people where they're like, well, what if, someone says something rude to me or is mean to me? Now listen, guys, I've had the occasional comment about my voice being awful, the lashes, the lips. I'm like, dude, I can't argue with you. Like, I have to listen to it every day and I don't even like it. So you're not telling me anything I don't know. But on the whole, even the people who don't agree with maybe the information I'm conveying or have a different point of view, on a whole, I've had some very respectful people on my thread. There's very, very few times where someone's just been a complete a-hole. And the people who are negative, the first question I ask is this the first time you're watching my content? Because those Opus clips will sometimes not get the context quite right. And they're only seeing like maybe an example story and they have no idea that I'm making a point. For instance, this person was like, oh, you're just another feminist. And I was like, this person obviously has never watched my channel before. I usually view anybody who says things negatively as that person is really hurting. That person has nothing better going on in their life but to stop and say something negative. But truly mean comments just, I don't know, they just don't really affect me. One of the other reasons I do think my channel has grown so quickly is that I do try to respond to every single comment. And this is my way of saying thank you for watching. Thank you for doing a comment. But it's also a reward. Like I tell my guys all the time, that's what I call you guys. Since my 95% viewers are men, I always call you my guys. I tell my guys and my handful of girls who might be watching, reward good behavior. In your relationship, you need to reward good behavior. And when somebody comments on my videos, that's good behavior. I want to see more of it. So therefore, that reward is going to be me responding back. If you're going to take the time to respond and comment on my videos, I'm going to reply back. And I've gotten a lot of guys who have told me that they're impressed how I answer everyone back. I do know at some point that I'm not going to be able to do that. But as of now, and as long as I can continue to do it, I will do it. Today's episode is sponsored by Cup Cozy Pillow. It is the world's best cup holder. And I'm not just saying this because I'm the inventor and the owner. Seriously, go to Amazon. We have over 10,000 reviews. So if you ever need a cup holder anywhere you don't have one, Cup Cozy Pillow is where it's at. Next, I'd like to remind you that I have a new free community. It's just really a great place where we take the conversations we start here and move them off to a different platform to where we can have an ongoing discussion. Did you know that I have been friend zoned by 81% of my viewers? That is right. 81% of you guys who watch my channel have not subscribed. So, well, don't friend zone me, okay? Sometimes I get video ideas from the things that maybe that they don't understand, or maybe I didn't articulate something well enough because the guys are saying the same thing. I'm like, no, that's not what I meant. Okay, this either needs further clarification or I didn't articulate this well. So the comments are really great for me to get feedback of what is actually working and what kind of information that is needed. So let's go ahead and talk money, because I know that is why you guys are here. So from July 16th, which was the first day I started earning revenue, into today, which I'm filming on May 16th, the total revenue is $2,944.25. Now, that is definitely less than minimum wage. So definitely don't think that you're going to start a channel and right off the bat be able to make enough money to replace your current income. I'm able to do this because we do have other income in which we don't rely on this, but it is something that as a side can generate some money for you. And my highest day ever actually came about 2 days ago, which was $49.79. I made $49. Whoop, whoop. The small little victories are super important to me. And the thing is, as you go along on this journey, you continue to learn. And just last week, I learned that you need to optimize your mid-roll ads. how YouTube was placing the ads wasn't making sense to me. Sometimes there was a ton of them. Some had videos that were really popular had no ads on it. I don't know YouTube's algorithm of how they place ads, but all I know is that don't forget to go in and optimize the mid-roll ads. This is something I just learned last week. So here's the ultimate bottom line. If you were to ask me, is YouTube worth it? And that answer is not going to be a yes for everybody. For me, I would say yes, but that's because of my why. It's helped me learn to articulate my ideas more efficiently. It's helped me gain new skills. I've met some amazing people. But just like with marriage, I think that if you choose to move forward, you do need to go in with an all or nothing attitude. This is not something that you just decide to kind of try, where you kind of like dip a toe in. Isn't going to sustain you. Maybe you're better than me and your 15-minute video is not going to take you 15 hours like mine do. Maybe you don't have an education video where you have to really think deeply and you're more off the cuff. But for me, I had to keep my priorities. I can't sit there and have a marriage podcast and then take that time away from my family and make the thing which I say to prioritize not a priority. I can't sacrifice my marriage for the benefit of strangers. So I had to vastly shut down my socializing. I kind of gave my friends a head up, like, I'm not going to be available for a year. I don't watch much TV. I set alarms on the weekend to go off early so I can get 2, 3, 4 hours of editing done. I film on those times and days where my kids are at school and my husband's at work. There's a lot of like little wait times, or maybe my son's warming up for his baseball game. I'll have 10, 15 minutes to reply to comments. I'm waiting in the kids' car lines. I'll reply to comments, or I'll start scripting out my next episode. I have my husband, the kids, the sports, a business. So I had to be very strategic with my time. But if you're like a single dude and you're thinking about this, like, what else are you going to do with your time? Are you just going to go and play Call of Duty all day? Like, do something productive. Absolutely, YouTube is a much better use of your time than trying to become the next big zombie hunter. I mean, the stats say that YouTube's going to double in the next 3 years. So, like, what are you waiting for? Go get grinding. And as a final note, I really want to thank every single one of my subscribers. Like all these familiar names that I see in the comments every day, your loyalty to me and to the channel and continuing my effort has really just been so appreciated. And so I hope that we just continue to have these awesome conversations. And you guys know what I'm going to say. I'll see you next time.